Good evening, everybody. Hello, or good day, I should probably say, to those of you who are not in this time zone. And I just realized I still have all the pictures on from last stream. I guess we can keep Azir because he's with us tonight. Say hello, Azir.
Hello.
But Tyrox and Fluke aren't here, so we'll get rid of them, at least for now. There we go. Monroe also needs to go. Hello, everybody. Uh, yeah, so gonna do something a little different for tonight. I had this actually planned for a while now, and
Our heads look weird.
yeah, let me just give it a moment to fix
There
it.
we
There we
go.
go. Don't complain. I'm already on it. Yeah, so as you probably saw in the title, I'm gonna do a little bit of an art tutorial, something live stream or other. I have it only like vaguely planned out, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. But there will be a portion, I can promise you that much, where we'll draw along and like I'm going to draw something and explain what I do, and you can grab a piece of paper or open up your drawing program and try to draw along just like Bob Ross would do. No, it's not going to be a speed painting. We're just going to do like the very basics, and just you can ask me questions and I'll try to answer them. And yeah, we'll just see how this whole thing goes.
So are we gonna draw happy little trees?
We're not going to draw a happy little tree. If everything goes as planned, we're going to draw a happy little tiger or a happy little wolf or something like that. So yeah, those of you who do want to try their hands, this is the stream for you. But before we get started proper, there was a thing on Twitter I saw a friend of mine do, and I'm gonna should finish homework, but I'll watch this first. If you are too busy, you can always watch the video on demand. It's going to be saved automatically, and it's going to be available for 2 weeks. Depending on how this goes, I might actually download it and maybe even upload it to YouTube, so it's available permanently. Yeah, so I guess we'll see. This is a bit of an experiment, so we'll see how this goes. And yeah, what I was about to say is, well, that's I'm glad you like it, Devilfur. I think I need to the mic a little bit away from my mouth because it's very loud. Also lower the volume a little bit, maybe. There we go. So if I want to go by just the very basics, because people sometimes ask themselves or even ask me, how would I get started drawing furry art, or just art in general. And there's a ton different ways to do that. And um, the the very basic thing is just try your hands at it. Just try it. Just pick up a pencil, or if you have an art tablet already, actually very affordable art tablets out there. Let me put up the browser here real quick. So there we go. This is for later, but I can actually show you guys what kind of tablet I have, because that would be interesting. So it's a Wacom Bamboo, but it's not what they currently sell as the Wacom Bamboo, because they rebranded a bunch of their products after a while. Oh, okay. What is that? No, I don't. Oh, fuck it. I don't want cookies. Leave me alone. Um, so I actually have a very, very basic tablet, and yeah, that's actually now called the Wacom Intuos, and it's a very small tablet. It doesn't have a screen. It doesn't even have a Bluetooth like those models have, and it's it's very, very small and very affordable. I think it's like $60. And it's actually really cool because it it's everything you need if you want to start out. And I know there are other opportunities and other options. I think Azure has one that's actually bigger than that.
A
I
bit.
think it's, is it this one? Oh, great! Their website is broken. That's awesome. What's actually cool about the Wacom pens, as far as I know, uh, yeah, it doesn't have any batteries. So we also have a Microsoft Surface here, and that pen has a battery in it. So you need to charge it in order to use it, and that those don't have a pen in it, so they're very light. The old bamboo, you want one is so difficult to buy and so expensive. Yeah. Thing is, there was some kind of schism, as far as I know, in terms of Wacom tablets. At least I saw a lot of people complain about them nowadays. Where the old ones, like mine, is from 2008, so it's really old at this point. The old ones kind of lasted forever, and the new ones kind of break after 3 or 4 years. But like, even if you start out, like, if you treat it well, it might last for a while. So you're not dumping too much money into a drawing tablet. Let's see what we have here. Why is it why does it show me a Dutch website? Niet liever buy. Yeah, okay, I know what that means. Uh, let's go to Amazon and see what it. Oh, so that's German. Why is it? Oh, there we go. So okay, so it's $80 right now. I mean, of course, there's a big shortage with everything right now, so it might depend. Um, so yeah, if you want to get started with that, start out cheap. Like with any hobby, just start out cheap. Don't go all in, in terms of money if you don't know how it's going to be for you. And there's also a website. This is it here. I'm gonna actually link that because it's really important. Um, it's what a friend of mine linked me to, and that's like a really, really good website if you want to learn how to draw. And I say, our approach is tough, and it is. I can confirm that. I looked at some of their lessons, but the thing is, it's completely free, and it has basically everything you need. Like there are lessons and articles here from the very basics, to very complicated stuff, and it's all done in a way that it's understandable. For instance, like if you don't want to read, hate to read, no problem. We can read the text for you. This feature is available completely free, so you can even listen to that or watch tutorial videos and such. And there's tons of material here that's all available for you. And if you think that some of the things are very complicated or they don't appeal to you, like learning to draw is all about finding your own way in this. It's your hobby, it's your time and your engagement in it, and this is all this should all just be seen as help, basically, or advice. And if you disagree with some advice, then it's perfectly fine to instead do something different. Once like they kind of explain this thing where starting out, what you shouldn't do is chicken scratching or dotted lines, and instead should do like smooth, continuous, unbroken lines, which is actually much more difficult to do than one might think. And LMI01, you have a tablet, you don't have time to practice by drawing. So that's the thing I'm gonna cover a little bit later. Um, but yeah, so when I saw a friend of mine, Vic and Azure, try their hands at drawing, like they would do these things where they try to make a line like this, and this is how a lot of beginners start out. And they tell you on the website, oh shit, didn't mean to open that browser. They tell you on the website not to do that, right? But if you are starting out, you can't help it, then it's fine. You gotta start somewhere. You can't just be immediately perfect. And so I think it's kind of um, good advice, but badly given, so to speak. Because it's easy to sort of say, hey, this is how you should do it. But actually translating that to your own movements is much more difficult. And like for me, it's been over a decade now, and so now I can confidently go like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna draw a circle, and then that and stuff like that, and continue on from that. But it took me a lot of effort and a lot of practice just to get to this point, and so you as I said, it's all about finding your own path, finding your own what you're comfortable with. It's like playing a Dark Souls game. Like if you're not comfortable with the kind of thing you're doing, then do something different. Do something you're comfortable with. Uh, okay, so you have a problem drawing. Okay, what is it though? Now it's the time because now I can actually answer questions before we get into all the bits and pieces. And other than that, I wanted to do something I saw on Twitter. The artist ass thing. It's what a friend of mine did. Where it's like this thing where you like the tweet and then as many likes as it gets, the many that amount of question he answers. I don't like doing that because I just I mean I don't mind if people do that. It's just for me. It kind of feels like attention grabby, and so I just want to go through these questions and maybe tell something about it. Um, but yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to interrupt me at any point, and I'll do my best to answer them. And also, hopefully show you guys a few things. I've got all of it set up as of now. You see all these tabs open here. I also got at the new version of Death Studio already and fired up, and I'm really excited to show you a few things there because it's mind blowing for somebody who has only used the old Death Studio 3 from 2008 or something. Okay, Daniel says, I know you how to draw arms, legs, torso, but I can't join them. They seem very strange to me. See, that's actually something I can jump in right with that studio. Uh, it's actually something that I was kind of uh, excited to see being adopted into other programs. I think it's Clip Studio Paint that also does that, if I'm not mistaken. I have never used it, but I think the pro version of it or something comes with like 3D models. And where is it? Concept art, character art, animation. They even do animation. Wow. Uh, One-time purchase, $49. That's actually pretty decent considering. Or 290. Okay, though that's a bit if you want the whole thing. But still, like $219 is probably better than doing a subscription or something. Oh, there we go. See, that's actually what I kind of did starting out, and now people actually actually started actually started doing that, and putting that into their programs. So if you want to do such a thing, for like poses and such, I can recommend Death Studio 3D because that thing, in its very basic form, is free. This program, and so the way they do it is don't sell you the program. They just give it for free, but they sell you all the models and such. And I talked about it before, but yeah, what it can help you with is just coming up with the pose or coming up with you know character ideas and such. So I'm going to show you how it works just real quick here. So you can load in this character, and don't worry, he doesn't have any genitals, but just for the sake of demonstration, I'm gonna put in the gray material. There we go, because it makes it a little less creepy. There we go. Just deactivate the eyelashes because I look weird. And what I can do with that character now is I can pose him and also like change things depending on measures and just numbers here and sliders, and also adjust things like I want the hand to grasp, and I want the torso to be bigger. Okay, this is a bit a bad example, but what I can do with it is I can download all these different body morphs and such. So they allow you to adjust the body and do all sorts of things with it. Let me show you here. Just real world. There we go. Like body size, fitness, heavy, etc. And of course, some people make the argument, rightfully so, I think, that this is some form of cheating because you're basically tracing and etc. And it's a valid argument. I've personally been terrified of people calling me out for that for years, and it took me a long while to get over it because, as I said before, like this is the way I do things, the way I feel comfortable with, and this is like the path I've chosen, and that makes drawing fun for me. And I think as with every hobby, even if it becomes your job eventually, it should be fun. It should be enjoyable for you. So I always had like a really hard time just staring at a blank piece of paper, and then trying to decide what the pose was like. Probably you start something out like this, so this is the head, and then you have like the spine, and then you have to add the neck and the torso, and okay, now where do the arms go? Well, maybe like that, and maybe like that. Okay, so but where do the legs go? And it all just stressed me out, and so using this technique is actually very relaxing for me because I can just see what works, what doesn't work. I can change things, and with the new version, it actually goes even further than this because they give you all these characters that you can buy and add to your scene, and it even becomes really helpful for furry artists. I'm going to show you that in a moment. I use 3D models when I can't find the references to do it on photos. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, some people use photos for references. Other people use live models, and this is basically as if you would be using a live model, except it's just 3D. And again, as I said, this is all about finding your own way. I hope people can still hear me because it feels like the program is breaking right now. Oh, there we go. Uh, it's all about finding your own way, and so
Everyone can hear you fine. Don't
okay.
worry.
And so how much you want to use and utilize these programs to help you is all up to you. And so yeah, as you can see, like they have this wonderful tiger model. It looks a bit weird, but that's because there's no fur rendered yet. I can actually show this in the shop here. There we go. So it's $25 for this model, but it actually looks really, really cool. And you can of course deactivate the first simulation and just use it as a basic reference. There we go. And the mane, the whiskers, and so on. And you even like it even has a wonderful bendable tail, which you can sort of move around and do stuff with it. And they also have genitals available. I can't show these, of course, but yeah, just rest assured that there are a lot of options for those as well. So yeah, like if you want to have a really safe and easy way just to get the basics down, I would highly suggest either using Death Studio or doing Clip Studio using Clip Studio Paint if you want to go that way. It's all up to you, and of course you can use photos as references. There are tons of websites that show different poses, and there are resources for artists. I think drawbox.com actually has like websites or links to that. Other drawing resource. Yeah, there we go. Figure drawing. That sounds promising. Clip Studio is amazing. Well, I've heard good things about it. Yeah, and yeah, there we go. Like figure drawing fundamentals. So getting into this whole thing and getting started is probably the hardest part because you know, everything you do feels like an exercise in futility because you know what it looks like in your head, and just trying to get that down on paper is the challenge really. And especially if I look back on my own art, the problem comes with seeing only the mistakes and only the flaws that you now know how to avoid, and you now know what to do better. Let me see. I turned safer work mode on just in case, because I don't to have to browse through like miles of porn just to show a few things and probably get banned by Twitch. Um, yeah, this, for instance, older drawing of me that still looks alright, but in my opinion, the eyes are too close to each other, and yeah, a few other things like the expression looks kind of strange, but it's just my perception of it. Like of course, now know better than I knew back then. And so that is, of course, staring back at you when you're starting out, because you see the mistakes, you see the errors, and some people can't get over that. And that's something you just need to get in your mind, that it doesn't matter if you made mistakes, as long as you keep improving and keep enjoying what you do. So, I guess we can move on to the artist ask, because this is probably a good place to pick up this. So, first of all, do you prefer traditional drawing or digital? For myself, of course, I prefer digital. I've barely drawn anything traditional in the last years, other than maybe a doodle somewhere. I don't know. Um, I'm just very dependent on the undo button. I'll be honest. It's uh, such a relief to be able to undo mistakes and not have to worry with an eraser, or like smudging all over the paper and tearing stuff or something. How long have I been drawing? Well, with the pen tablet since 2008. So this has been what, like 2008, 14 years. Holy shit. How many classes have you taken? I have not taken any art classes whatsoever, aside from school art classes, of course. But yeah, I've not learned any kind of professional art studies or something. I've only taught myself through exercise and tutorials and such. Uh, what's your favorite thing to draw?
Daddy, of course.
My favorite thing to draw, I guess, is just furry art in general. I have to be boring and say that, because just having a cool idea and getting really excited about it. Of course, I like drawing my own persona, but and like the neighbor dogs one. Yeah, that was such a cute idea that I was really happy to jump at and just enjoy myself drawing that. Because Azir and I, like, we came home from grocery shopping one day. Oh, thanks so much, Vic. Whoa, holy shit, 5 months subscription. Thank you. Dicks. Yeah, dicks are fun too. But we came back from grocery shopping one day, and we kind of like fantasized about having dog neighbors that we just catch in the middle of playing frisbee with each other, and so like they wave at us as we're coming home. That's such a nice sentiment.
So adorable.
Yeah. And so, that is like my favorite thing, and I just enjoy the whole variety of things that furry art brings with it. Uh how often do you use references? Regularly? There are some pictures I've drawn without references. Sadly, I can't show these, on this stream. Um, but I personally believe there's nothing wrong with using references. Um, there's even nothing wrong with tracing, because it's often shunned and looked down upon. Uh, but I think any kind of um, creative engagement or creative activity that you do kind of kind of adds to your own experience, and adds to your willingness to move further than that. With tracing, of course, people just are very um, upset whenever somebody claims their work as their own. And I'll just keep this open for a moment, and well, maybe use a different tab so we have something nice to look at while I go through these. Um, so if you claim something as your own and it's traced, of course, that's what people don't like. So if you if you really want to learn art through tracing, that's okay, but always make sure to give proper credit, or maybe even ask the artist beforehand if it's okay if you do that. So just to keep in mind that don't try to get clout by using somebody else's work and claiming it as your own. Um, what's your least favorite thing to draw? That depends on what I'm doing. I think my least favorite thing to draw are just things that are complicated to draw, or maybe things that I'm on the fence about. Like commissions can sometimes get very stressful for me, or just I guess if I don't have much confidence in an idea, that gets very stressful, and also like kind of sinks my motivation to work on it. It happened in the past where I just scrapped entire picture ideas because I wasn't confident in them anymore. Other than that, if it's something I don't really enjoy, then I just try to find a way to make it enjoyable, or just don't do it in general. Um, Scenery standing off, yeah, I can totally understand that, but I think you like with backgrounds, there's some enjoyment to be had if you know how to go about doing them. Like if you don't think of a background as an afterthought, but as a part of the picture itself. And I guess you all see my stream background. Uh, this was an actual blast to work on, even though it's 3D. It's still like mixed media, and I still got to add so many little touches here and there. I can actually show you a few things. Like I opened up the starting point and then the end point, and the thing is, like, you have all the possibilities you could ever want with digital drawing. So I can sort of like add screenshots from my own Steam profile. I can add game screenshots here, or like game posters, and these weren't created by me, of course, but like who cares? It's just part of the picture. Uh, I cheated with, for instance, with the mouse pad here. You can see the mail symbol on it. It's actually a product screenshot from a Logitech mouse, the one I had at that time, and stuff like that. So sure, it's cheating. It's like if I was a real artist, in quotation marks, um, then I would learn how to draw all that stuff myself, and I would just go about doing all this by hand. But fuck it. Like if it sounds fun, just do it the way you do, and I guess that's a whole mess behind it. Make a Zerb pose for reference.
I always offer.
I guess I could do that at some point, but maybe we'll have to record that. Other than that, I don't think so, because I don't want to put him through the experience of having to stand in a very painful pose for a prolonged time. So I'm very happy with using 3D models instead, because I don't have to worry about him, getting cramps or stuff like that.
You just have to ask,
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Uh, do you draw professional or just for fun? Well, both. I of course am a full-time furry porn artist at this point, and that is my main income. But I still draw for fun, and it's still a very fun job to have, all things considered. If you want to get into furry art, I would highly suggest it if you have interest in the community. If you don't, then I wouldn't suggest it. Just because you should draw stuff you find you're passionate about and find the communities attached to that. But one thing I can say about the furry community in terms of any kind of art, like no matter how little or how much recognition you get, the furry community is incredibly supportive and incredibly friendly to artists. Oops, I wanted to open that later. But yeah, because I sometimes talk with other people about the weird kind of messages I get, the weird notes, the weird comments people leave, and it can be exhausting to deal with those at times. When people don't understand how the commission process works, or they don't know how to go about finding something that's clearly on my profile. Uh, that gets exhausting and even gets a little frustrating sometimes. But I always try to keep in mind that these people are still being nice. Like nobody has sent me death threats just because I drew something they didn't like or something like that. So compared to the toxicity in the rest of the internet, sometimes that you sometimes encounter, furry community is incredibly kind and patient and supportive and stuff. Um, Furry porn needs to be a religion. Okay. Okay, next one. Are you confident about your art? In general, I'd say so, yeah, but it took me a long time to get to that point. Like, years back, I wasn't confident in my art at all. And I always looked at it and thought, I wish it would look like other artists' work instead of the way it does, on my own. And it took me a long time to grow and gain confidence. Holy shit. Wow, how many subs were
Whoa.
those? Thank you so much, Grot 2011. Holy crap. 25 gift subs. Oh my god, the Glaradors puts it perfectly. Thank you very much. Wow. You just broke the stream with that. I hope you realize that. Jesus, wow. Yeah, thanks so much. I really, really appreciate it. Here come the cheese.
And there was much rejoicing.
And there was much rejoicing indeed. Uh, Sometimes I'm not even sure if people get the same sub twice when people give subs because there are um, not many viewers. Uh, this one I'm still particularly fond of, but even though the paws look a bit weird and stuff. But this was also a picture I was really going all out with the background. I remember. Holy shit, that's 9 years old. Oh god, such a long time ago.
Didn't even know you back then.
Yeah, we didn't even know each other's. Well, we know of each other, but we didn't even encounter each other until much later.
Nope.
Okay. Where next one? Do you prefer to keep your art personal, or do you like drawing things for other people? Um, Both. Drawing for oneself is very relaxing, and it's very uh, therapeutic for me. Like if I'm in a bad mood, I'll just draw a nice picture of my persona or another character. I think I've written that under a lot of descriptions where no, a lot of pictures in the description where I was like, I was in a bad mood, so I drew this, and it raised my mood, and now I'm happy again. And that always works to just draw something and raise my spirits. But I also really love drawing for other people and just surprising them with art, or doing commissions and such, because it's so much fun, like gaining a new perspective, or having someone else dictate the idea, and then you try to filter that through your own viewpoint and turn it into a picture. But it's a challenging thing to do, so I wouldn't suggest doing that right from the very start, because um, first you need to grow confident in your own art before you can draw for somebody else. I have a sugar. I have a sugar day. Yeah, I guess I do know. Just really love the way you do your artwork and supporting the community. Thank you so much. That is such a generous thing to do. Heterochromia. Oh yeah, yeah. That the character had two different colored pupils. Nice tits. Well, thanks. Okay. Next one. Do you ever collaborate with others? I have done that in the past. Sadly, not as much as I like. Definitely would love to do collaborations more with other people, but it's tough to come by because I only know a few furry artists, and whenever like we talk about doing a collaboration, it mostly is like, oh yeah, let's get a coffee sometime. In terms of like we would love to do it, but neither of us has the time because we're busy with work and commissions and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I do like collaborations a lot. It's hard to find people that want to do that. Of course, if I would put up a journal, 500 people would probably say, "Yeah, I'd love to do it," but they might not be on a similar experience level. I'm not saying they would be bad. It's just you kind of want people that understand what goes into making an artwork, with like full background and such. Um, just to have the sensibility to be, um, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but just to be aware how much work goes into a picture as opposed to doing like a sketch that takes like 20 minutes to do or something. Okay, next one. Show a work in progress sketch, something that never saw the light of day. Well, I can show something that has not yet seen the light of day, and I prepared something. So that's something I finished yesterday. Uh, it's for our pen and paper role playing game. This is my character in it. He's called Rudyard, and believe it or not, this was not suggested. Like this was not an idea of mine or an idea of Azur's. This was actually suggested by a non-furry player in our pen and paper role playing group. He legitimately said, "I dare one of you guys to play a super muscular unicorn, a rainbow unicorn." And I just read. I was like, "Done. I take you up on that."
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, like in my mind, I was like, yes, that's the perfect thing to do. And the story that Azure wrote, and Azure's hosting the whole thing, he's the game master, is that his brother is missing. His brother is Gibson, and he's the complete opposite of Rudyard, and he's also a unicorn. That's him, and that has not yet been released. That either backfired on him, but I think he was actually loving it. It was embracing. So yeah, he's a little bit differently built than his bigger brother.
But yeah, a lot of our players are enjoying your unicorns.
Yeah, they're. It's interesting because Azure and I are the only furries in the group, but they're shipping my character and another character, a male orc, hard with each other. So yeah, that's been fun. I thought Nailers and Wushel you'd like him. Glad you do. How long does an average piece take you to complete? That of course depends on the work included. I think like a full thing with background and all starts out at like 8 hours, and from there there's like no telling. Like it can be 12 to 14 hours, 16 hours. I think this took probably 10, 12 hours or something. And but of course, not in one consecutive sitting, but it's over a few days, over two or 3 days. Although I do sit on one picture way longer than I should because I haven't mastered time management yet. But Azure knows that.
Yes.
Um, but in general, yeah, probably something between like 8 and 12 hours or something. I have a question. Do you have your drawings placed in your house as wall paintings?
Yes.
Yes, thanks to Azure, we actually do. We should actually take pictures of that. Um, Azure, did you buy any from your first art show?
Actually, no.
No, those
But
were
I got
other
that one
people.
picture of that rhino in a suit,
Oh,
which you
right,
didn't
yeah.
manage to sell.
Yeah,
So I
I
asked you if I could have that. That was my very first artwork I
oh,
got from you
right, right,
for
right. There was one
wedding up.
picture I had for the 2015 Eurofurnace art show that wasn't sold, and so I gifted that to Azure, and he hung that one up.
And the second one was the Spartan line. You actually
Yeah,
sold that to someone else at EF, but you sent me the file so I could print out.
yeah. This one, this is hanging in our bedroom, on our bedroom wall.
Exactly, that's in our bedroom.
The rhino, I can show you guys the rhino as well. Uh, there we go. Nobody wanted to buy that. Although I think it came out a little darker than that, so it might have been an issue.
It looks a bit dark on the wall, but and of course don't forget the engagement picture.
Are you running into the problem where you can't stop working on something even though it's technically done, but you're not satisfied with it? Oh boy, have I. Yes, absolutely. I try to limit myself to the notion of nobody's gonna notice that mistake. Nobody will be able to tell that you didn't do X or you forgot to do something. But of course, in my mind, until it's finished and posted online, I sometimes come back and redraw things or change things. So I definitely do that, but in general, it's something that you kind of have to get comfortable with, just to see something as finished and then not touch it anymore. Because otherwise, you're just gonna get yourself stuck in a rut where you just continue fixing problems that aren't there anymore. And I think that's something actually that just comes over time. Because I learned that complacency is your biggest friend. Because I can show you something real quick. Like I used to use the very basic brush in Photoshop for drawing, right? Which is it's just a very simple brush, nothing fancy to it. But what I would notice is that after I was done sketching, and I would just go back and do the line art, like I would do the line art like this, and I would like try to do these long clear lines so the line art would look very clean, and then I would have to go in and erase the parts that didn't look right, and do it over and over again. And I would incredibly cramp up during this process, like to the point that my wrist would hurt because I would just be so super focused on it. And so I kind of realized, okay, this is not the way I can continue working. So I played around with a few brushes, and I started using this pencil like brush right here. I can make it a little bigger so I can show you guys. So it's much more rougher, and you can see all these little edges and such. And I started using that for sketching first because I figured, well, the sketching brush doesn't need to be super clean because it's just a sketch. And I continued to use it. And after I was done with the sketch, I was like, hey, this looks great. I can just keep it the way it is. I think this one's still the old one. Yeah, there we go. This one actually, the picture here is actually the result of me not wanting to do the line art, so I tried a different technique. Um, and yeah, once I was done with the sketch, I was like, okay, this looks a little bit a little dirtier than usual, but I had so much fun. It was so much easier to do this because I just didn't care about how clean it looked. And from now on, I just use this brush all the time, and I didn't even bother doing the line art anymore. So who cares if it's a little unclean, if it's a little smudgy, stuff like that. Like here, you can see the lines are a little thicker, and there's some that don't really match, and sometimes I drew over the lines and such. Like who cares? It looks okay, it's just a quick picture. Like who's gonna sue me over this? And that's sort of like thought process is something that you just really need to get comfortable with. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry. Thanks, Azure, for for mentioning that. I forgot to show that one.
Of course.
I can show you guys the proposal picture. Problem. There we go. Follow-up question: do you get caught up on getting your stripes right when you draw yourself? Uh, Actually, I don't. Thankfully, uh, still take a lot of time to do. Sorry, I kind of missed a few comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get all caught up here. I used to get really caught up when doing the stripes, and that was like years ago, back in 2015 when I did my visual novel. I don't think I've got any art of that I can show. I guess my old reference sheet is probably a good indication. Like you can see there are much more stripes on there than they are currently, and it got to a point where they became more and more intricate, where I would do more and more smaller stripes. It would be so stressful for me. Uh, yeah, this one too. I like this one. I'm not gonna scroll any further down, even though you can't see anything. Still really like this one. But yeah, eventually, as I said before, complacency is is your best friend. Is you just go like, ah, fuck it. I'm just gonna do the stripes. Much more simple. Um, you know, who cares? And once you kind of move back and forth between what you are capable of and what you are willing to sink into a picture in terms of time and effort, that sort of becomes the point, the peak to where you're comfortable with your own art style, I guess. uh let's see what else looking for. Yeah, Chapelmon, you got gifted a one sub of 25 by Grot 2011. That's was an incredible gift. New texture to the lines that give it something spicy. Yeah, exactly. Aw, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Deturo. I'm glad you appreciate it. Also got an incredible level on my art when I changed the default brush to a slightly different one. It too is rough like that of yours, but it's a bit flatter instead of being round. The flatness gives it more flow and makes the sketch line art more dynamic. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened to me as well. All of a sudden, I was willing to put up sketches, like this one for my comic, or this one which I just drew for fun. Before I was so worried about delivering like clean art, and eventually I was like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna upload it like it is, and be done with it. Oh yeah, that one was also fun. Oh, thanks so much for joining, Daniel Hoff. Take care and good night. Okay, next question. I think we got kind of sidetracked, but that's okay.
That happens.
How long does it take? There we go. Do you draw more today than you did in the past, or do you draw less? Oh, of course, I draw way more. Last year I think I drew like 120 pictures or something, and the year before I think I drew 150, and that's like in addition to animations, in addition to the comic that I still need to continue and will do. Please don't beat me up over it. Um, yeah, like I just drew an insane amount more than I did in the years before that, especially now that I'm moved in with Azure. Holy shit, more more gift subs. Thank you so much, Elsa. Wow, this is insane, guys. Never received so many gift subs on one stream. Thank you. Um, but in general, you should always see art as just a hobby and something you, well, not just a hobby if it becomes your main income, of course, but you should always see it as something enjoyable instead of something that you have to do, because I sometimes see people like forcing themselves to draw certain things, like, oh, I need to draw expression, I need to learn how to draw paws. I need to learn how to draw, eyes and so on. And you don't need to draw anything. All you need to do is like have fun and like enjoy the whole process. You don't you know play golf or football or tennis or whatever as a hobby because you have to get better at it. You just play it because you hopefully enjoy it. Only with consent. So uh yeah, that's in my opinion the most important thing is that have fun and you know draw because you want to draw, and also draw regularly because especially in the beginning it can get really easy to get out of the loop and kind of regret, or well, not regret but kind of regress in terms of the skills you learned, because if you don't apply them regularly, you'll eventually forget about them. And that's what actually happened to me with 3D art. I actually used to be, quite into doing 3D stuff, and then I stopped doing it because it was very difficult to learn and even more difficult to master. And then I just forgot all about it. And now I can use the very basics, and I sometimes dabble in it again, like with that studio, which allows me to do some very basic stuff. But other than that, I kind of lost the touch. I would love to get back into it, but it always takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to sort of find my way again. What you're currently trying to improve on? I'm actually not trying to improve on anything right now. I just, draw whichever I feel like drawing, and I just happen to get better at it with time. And I think it's also an important, kind of mindset to have, that you don't need to focus on getting better at something, but keep your passion for it and keep your passion for whatever it is you're drawing. If you like want to draw Sonic the Hedgehog 500 times in an entire year, and do it, like who cares, just enjoy drawing what you draw. And if you don't get better at it, that's fine, and if you do get better at it, that's fine too. Like art and drawing as a hobby shouldn't be stressful. And so I don't think that you should force getting better at it. uh it's the best time to get into 3D with Blender's newest version. Yeah, I heard that. I definitely would love to get into Blender, but I'll need to look up some tutorials and stuff. Started the donut. I have to finish it. So okay, that sounds interesting. Love to see the donut tutorial. um yeah, what else do we have here? What's most difficult for you to draw? Well, it's kind of similar to what's your least favorite thing to draw. Well, the most difficult thing kind of evolves out of an idea. I think in the past it used to be very difficult for me to draw stuff like this, like armor and stuff like that. And I think it still is, but I've definitely gotten better at it. Um, but you go on DeviantArt or FA and other places. I mean, I can actually look at stuff and just go with. I mean, we can even go there, and you can just see people doing incredible armor designs and weapon designs, and sometimes they use it from like existing franchises. uh just close that real quick. Yeah, something like that. That's just black magic to me, because all these different forms and plates, and trying to get everything looking right, and looking proportionate, because you have to imagine there's still a body underneath there. That is just very, very difficult for me, and I applaud and respect every artist to an insane degree that can just do that within a matter of minutes. Just come up with an armor design. And oh, he looks great. Oh, wait, isn't that the? Oh, frostbite pose. Never mind.
Not quite.
Not quite.
He looked like it at first,
Yeah, you look
though,
like one
a
of
bit.
the. But yeah, so you know, stuff like that. Like even if it's holy shit, that's insane. Like you look at the details on the machinery here, like the claws, and wow. How do you even fire a gun like that? How do you even look through the scope? Well, doesn't matter. Still looks awesome. Okay, watch the Mandalorian for the armor references. Yeah, like more intricate backgrounds or just the back to 3D ever known, but I admit the problem with getting into it is that you have no real payoff throughout the whole learning process. Yeah, actually, exactly. You end up convincing yourself that the time could be spent on commissions instead of stressing yourself with learning a whole new way of making art. Yeah, that's definitely the issue is like time management. When you earn money doing what you do, you always, and that's something you really need to, you know, forget to a certain degree, but you're always measuring time in work, basically. Whenever you do something that's not work, you think to yourself, I could be working now, I could be earning money now, I could be doing anything else now that, you know, is work related, except do this thing that is not work related. And that's just something you have to get over with, and just, you know, get over it, and just sort of um I'm just going to keep that open for a moment. And just sort of like learn to relax and learn to realize that not everything is about art, and not everything is about learning earning money. And you know, if you want to learn some new skill that doesn't have any application in your job, it's fine. You know, you can always try out new things, you know, learn to play an instrument, and then not become a rock star, but just, you know, like to play an instrument every now and then as a hobby. And you know, that's just a question of the mindset that you really need to you know, internalize, and just think to yourself, okay, I'm doing this thing because I want to do it, and it is not going to pay me one dime, you know, it's not going to pay off in any way, but I just want to do it right now, and that's okay. uh it's about most of the drawings you want to show as an example, not safe for work. Yeah, probably they're not safe for work. But I prepared a few things that I can show. But you know, like, thankfully I do safe for work pictures every now and then, so I can still show off some stuff. And some of the things I drew that are safe for work that I'm actually really proud of, like this tiger and bunny collage that I did. Uh, Since I do CG as a job, I'm now learning Taiko for fun, and I can't bring myself to draw or paint after work. Yeah, I understand the struggles with that. Um, I guess you try to find something that you're very passionate about, and try to translate that into what you want to learn. So because I found, you know, especially for 3D, if I had a goal in mind that I wanted to recreate, it went much better than if I just tried to learn 3D for the sake of it. Because you know, once you start the process of going like, okay, I want to reach that point where I'll be able to, I don't know, animate fur. You know, just as a very basic example. Uh, Holy shit, we got a rating party of 41 by Beef McCann.
Wow.
Thank you so much. What is going on
I
here?
don't know.
This
A
stream is
lot.
crazy. Holy shit! I have to keep up with your comments. I'm sorry. Um, okay, just let me finish that thought real quick. But yeah, like if I were to say, okay, I want to make a tiger character in 3D, and I want to animate him, then I'll do everything I can to make that happen, to get that result. And you know, I'll look up techniques, I'll look up, you know, skills and tutorials that help me achieve that goal, and that way I can learn about what I want to do, and also at the same time, you know, have the payoff of actually making that happen, instead of going like, okay, how do I build a house in 3D, and then like I have no passion building houses in 3D. That's what Sims 4 is for, you know, and stuff like that. So I guess that's the good way of getting into a certain skill or hobby if you just do it by being passionate about something. Okay, I'm trying to get easy with Blender. That might. Oh, thanks, Nalius. Yeah, I should probably hydrate and also stretch. Thanks.
There we go.
Okay. I never sought out to become published, but I wrote things and I just wanted to write. I guess I could document my story. Yeah, also that's pretty much exactly what I was talking about. And being published is a very big opportunity and honor. So I'm glad you achieved that. Okay, next one. What's most difficult? What is the easiest thing for you to draw? Well, tigers. Obviously, my persona has become like the go-to uh, idea that I just immediately default back on when I want to draw something. And I don't know, it's the first thing that pops into my head when I was like, okay, I want to draw something. Here's my persona. What can he probably do? Oh, wait, he might have just been jogging and he's meeting the viewer outside and just wishing him a good morning in the charming way he does. And that is something I just really, really enjoy doing. And it's the easiest thing for me to do. Oh, hey, Callie, hello to the art stream that is kind of going off the rails, but I hope I'm keeping it kind of coherent. Um, yeah, I think we're doing fine so far. All right, next one. Wait, where were we? There we go. Do you like to challenge yourself? Sometimes. Also, back to the cops thing, you were saying we should hit each other up. I'm sure there are a lot of art tips and techniques we could talk. Yeah, sure. Like, you know where to find me. On Twitter or send me a note on FA wherever you like. You can even contact me on Twitch. And sure, we can look at each other's stuff and see where we take it from there. Do you like to challenge yourself? Well, from what I've talked before about, as I said, if you are passionate about something, then you find ways to achieve that. And so I do like to challenge myself, with the playtime picture I showed you here. So that was a different technique than what I was used to because I drew the sketch up and then I was like, okay, I don't want to do the line art. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a mask of the sketch that I've drawn here. And so the way it works is that if I draw in the area that's now be seen as red, it won't show. So I can just draw over something and not worry about it being drawn over that, if that makes sense. Um, so I just started out doing the shading, just for fun because I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna start out with the shading and just really basically start out with a dark blue because I want this picture to be dark, and then I just add on because that's also something that drawing is a lot about is just starting out with the basics and then adding stuff on as you move on and getting more elaborate. Because I've seen like a lot of artists do this kind of painting-ish style, and I wanted to try it. And I was like, wow, that worked out incredibly well. Looks really cool, even though there's no color there. I was already quite confident with the way I wanted to do the background and stuff like that. I think I even have the background open here. So that's the render in DAS 3D, with the light and all, and then I rendered it twice, so I would have the lighting as a separate layer, and then I put that underneath, and then I went on to add the color. I was like, wow, okay, holy shit, that looks really really good. And so I just kept going with it, and eventually, I ended up with this because it was what I was passionate about and what I really wanted to try out. And I've done this a couple of times more with this kind of like painting-ish style, even though it isn't as painting-ish as it might seem. Let me just close a few of these tabs. Like this one I drew for the release of Cyberpunk 2077, and this one as well. And this one I drew for our old pen and paper group that I'm no longer part of, but Azure still is. Um, and yeah, it was really cool just trying this thing out, but I never set out to challenge myself because I feel that it's kind of setting yourself up for disappointment when you think about, okay, I want to draw something super realistic, and I want it to be, as real as I can get, and then you have no idea what to do, so you start googling like super real images, and you go like, okay, maybe I can draw an apple super realistic, but eventually the challenge, and of course, if people like doing that, that's fine if it works for them. But of course, the challenge then becomes about meeting that challenge and not about having fun and just doing what you like to do. Yeah, Vic the leopard. Vic puts it perfectly. Going outside your comfort zone has its ups and downs. Um, oh, thanks so much, Azure, for linking Alsong's stuff there.
No
Um,
problem.
I've seen people, make the argument that you have to go outside your comfort zone to get better, and I disagree with that because, as I said, if it's a hobby, it should be fun first and foremost. Holy shit! Thanks so much, Hellrunner, for the 6 month subscription. Um, Moving on from that statement is actually sliding right into one point I wanted to make. That is this book right here that I bought, I think 10 years ago, something like that. It's called "Still Like an Artist." 10 things nobody told you about being creative. And I'm not getting any money for this. I probably should be because I'm going to be gushing about this a lot. But this book is insanely good. It's not very long. It's not very thick. It's very small actually. But this book is so good if you want to become, an artist, writer, musician, whatever, because it tells you all the things that people always were in at a very 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 abrasive about, or very um I don't know how to say it right now. They were very adamant about not doing, like you can't steal when you're an artist. It's good artists don't steal, and stuff like that. And the guy who wrote this book actually had this ingenious idea. I'm not sure if it is something here what he does. Um, he would take, oh, there we go, newspaper blackout. That's what he did. He would take newspaper articles and would black out a lot of words, and like from the remaining words, he would make poems, which is just an insanely cool idea to do, because you're not choosing the words from your own mind. You're choosing the words that are on the paper, and then you're trying to make that into a poem and that makes sense. So that's coming up with that is insane. Yeah, and I can show you a few things here in the book. So if you in the beginning, obscurity is good. Oh, that's true. Don't throw any of yourself away. The thing is, what he talked about is this misleading preconception about authors that says write what you know, which kind of refers to only write about stuff that you are confident about. And if you write about something that you are not confident about, do a lot of research. And in and of itself, it sounds very reasonable. Write what you know, draw what you know, make music the way you know. But he kind of rebuked that, and said, well, if I only write what I know, I'll never learn anything new. Which is kind of the point. Like, how would you write something like Harry Potter if you only stuck to something you know? You've never done any real magic. You never cast a spell. Like, how would you even come up with that if you weren't allowed to learn something new, or draw something that or write something that you don't know. And so like his way of explaining things is very genuine. This is for instance is very good. Still like an artist, don't wait until you know who you are to get started. Write the book you want to read is also incredibly helpful. 'Cause that's something you, even as an artist, you can kind of lose if you are doing commissions constantly and you're only ever drawing something for others. You lose the sensibility of like listening to yourself, and that has happened to me a bunch of times where I just didn't know anymore, what I wanted to do. I only kind of like saw what I need to do, and like I need to do this animation, and I need to continue doing this comic, and I need to continue doing this. And then like I kind of stopped and thought to myself like, what do I want to draw? You know, use your hands is kind of talking about like how to get active. I think side projects and hobbies are important. The secret: do good work and share it with people. Geography is no longer a master. That's basically talking about online stuff. Be nice. The world is a small town. It's also very important. Be boring. It's the only way to get work done. And creativity is subtraction. Um, so yeah, like he talks about a lot of things that you might not necessarily know about, or you might not necessarily think about. For instance, in the I talked about that before, like how creativity works in terms of stealing is like the good theft is steal from many, bad theft is steal from one. um if you take a tree line and you have like a bunch of trees, um just I don't know, like something very basic. If you just type in trees, yeah, we have looking at trees. um Say if you want to draw a tree for your background, and then what creativity basically is, and what stealing like an artist is going, okay, I want to draw a tree, and this is the tree I want to draw. So making that deliberate choice to focus on something that you think is right for your creative work, and then taking this into account, and translating that into your own work and incorporating that into your own work. That is what creativity is about, and that is what being a writer, musician, artist, whatever is about. It's always about your inspiration and your influence, and it's fine to draw that tree exactly the way it is, because you made that deliberate decision to draw that tree, and maybe and during the process you'll find something that you want to change about that tree, and maybe you think, okay, I want to draw that tree, but I want to put it in an alien environment, so I'm going to color the leaves yellow, orange, violet, and all the rainbow colors, because that's how I want the tree to look. And all of a sudden you made a deliberate decision based on inspiration, based on something that exists in reality, that you air quotes stole, so to speak. But yeah, so if you want, some kind of piece that has all the information that you need to get inspired, this book is really, really worth it. And I think there's also an audiobook. I think there's also an ebook, if I'm not mistaken. I can link that real quick, because I think it's really helpful. I need the shadow here. There needs to be sunlight here. Add a roof with branch. Exactly. That's pretty much the whole thing. Okay. Next up. Are you confident you are improving steadily? Um, for a while I wasn't, for a long time, but what I do, of course, I can't properly do that now with safe work mode enabled. Um, because eventually when you start out, you are gonna improve very quickly, because just the very beginning stuff is gonna be wonky and not looking the best, of course. And so you see the mistakes and spot them easily, and you can fix them in continuous process of drawing more and more. But as you grow more experienced, you start to kind of flatten the curve in terms of how many mistakes you notice, how many mistakes you make. But what I would do is I would go to the first picture of each year once a year was over, and kind of look back, like the last picture of the previous year, and kind of look back and see what has changed in that one year. And I would be surprised oftentimes by what had changed actually and what I had improved on. Um, Let me just see if I can find an example. But yeah, like the Spartan uh, picture. Um, it still looks nice, but I think I could improve on the eyes. I have improved quite a bit there, and also the lines, and of course the thighs are a bit too small for him. But yeah, so at face value, the picture looks okay. It looks good. There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, it looks hot as hell.
Thank you. But if I look at it now, of course, I see all the things I think I did wrong back then, and that I improved on. And so that's something that I didn't notice before, because once I was done with the picture, I didn't look at it very much until much later. Isn't that also because when you work on something for a long time, you can't see the faults anymore, like writing an essay and stuff, and then mirror it or read it backwards, phrase for phrase? Yeah, that's also true. Like once you kind of grow accustomed to working on something, you eventually stop noticing the mistakes, and you need a fresh perspective to sort of see them again. But that's something you should not bother yourself with, because mistakes are going to happen. I continue to make mistakes even now, and they might not be noticeable for other people, they might be noticeable for other people, whatever. But again, like, this is something that should be fun and enjoyable, not super stressful. If I'm gonna occupy myself with all the mistakes or the lack of improvement, I'm never gonna draw again, because why should I do that if I am just gonna end up making mistakes again? You know, so yeah, just who cares? You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna keep doing mistakes. All you can do is just draw and work on something to your best knowledge and to your best skills, and the rest is just out of your control. I don't think every improvement you go through is visible. Sometimes it's just that being more comfortable with your art makes your life happier and more rewarding. Well, it's not something that's reflected in your art; it's an improvement that it brings. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with that. That's so very true. Because as I said, with the brush settings, that is not something that you might notice at first. Like, because if you look at that picture and yeah, for instance, that picture, I think that's okay to show, right? There's nothing explicit here. It's not even nipple visible, so I guess I'm not sure why I tagged this one as explicit. Um, but yeah, like, oh shit, now I closed that one again. There we go. You wouldn't necessarily see much difference in terms of the line art here, or the line art here, but as I said, I changed the line art settings over the course of the years, and for me that made a huge difference and a huge impact in how comfortable I'm with in terms of drawing. So for me that's a huge change, but it might not be visible to the average viewer. Unfortunately, Twitch considers nipples explicit, but it should be. Yeah, but what about nipples of non-existent fictional characters?
Male
Male
characters, because
characters?
double standards. Hello.
Hello. Okay.
It's just female breasts you have to worry about.
Do you feel jealous when you see other people are inspired? My friend Poppin, who did that artist ask on Twitter, said that he doesn't think that jealousy is a very good mindset to have when it comes to drawing, and I completely agree. Like, it's easy to get jealous of a seasoned artist when you think like, oh, I wish I could draw like Shiuk, Anti-Dev, insert any other artist name here that you like. Um, but the thing is, your mind like is just jealous because you wish you had those skills this moment without any of the downsides. You only want the skill, maybe the fame, maybe the money, but you want nothing of the bad stuff. And that's just not how anything works, right? So honestly, if I see a great furry artist or just a great artist in general, I just can't help but feel inspired by them and feel awe for their skill and their talent. And I can still, after all this time, enjoy new furry artwork and new songs, new video games, whatever, um, with the same kind of fascination that I had like all these years ago. And I'm really happy that I kept that going for myself, because I don't think that jealousy is a good mindset just to go through life with, because eventually you just grow sour, and nobody really sets out to make other people jealous with their creative passion or whatever. Like if somebody is flexing and to try and make people jealous, okay, but who cares, right? Um, but other than that, I don't think you should hold it against artists, to that just draw what they want, and then kind of project that onto yourself and be jealous of them, because they also went through all these years of practice and training and learning, that you will have to go through if you want to get to that level. And I just think that any sort of negative mindset like that is unhealthy. And instead, if you really focus on something as destructive as jealousy, your time is much better spent doing something creative and constructive that actually you know brings you joy, so to speak. I wish I could draw like Van Gogh. Yeah, just cut an ear off, then what? No, don't cut your ear off.
Please don't.
Even though I feel blessed sometimes with not improving my art too much, I remind myself that I am, however, becoming a better writer, since I also do that part of my comics. Oh yeah, that's comics especially are a big challenge. When you spread too thin through many disciplines, it takes longer to notice big improvements in only one field, but it still happens. That's also true. Yeah, 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 exactly. Like if you go with jealousy, you just make yourself miserable. Um, do you like to draw in silence or with music? Personally, I like to draw with music. I have tinnitus, so any sort of silence gets uncomfortable for me after a while. So I try to have something, on in the background, like YouTube videos or music or series episodes. But that's just a purely subjective thing to have. If you rather work in silence, that's also good. For traditional art, what medium do you like most? Oh, wait, I skipped over the other one. For digital art, what programs do you use? I use an old version of Adobe Photoshop CS4. I'm actually glad to use it because I don't have to pay the subscription. I got it years and years ago with the help of a friend. Like, actually got a good deal on it, but I'm not sure how much it is actually if you want to buy that now. Which is because I heard from like the new ones that sort of, for also it's free download, of course that's a trial, that the new one is kind of buggy. Is Photoshop CS4 free? Wait, how is that? That doesn't look legit. I wouldn't trust that, to be honest. uh, I know they made some older versions free at some point. I'm not sure if it still is. Get down from here. Hmm. But yeah, other than that, there are tons of great art programs like Clip Studio Paint we talked about earlier, or Krita I know is also very good. Uh, not actually sure if you can get like a maybe I should purchase eBay. $229. Holy shit. That program is from like 2008 or something. Oof. Well, I guess if you want that, that thing that I use, but other than that, ever since then, so many programs have copied Photoshop, and there's GIMP, and there's I don't remember all the names, but just we can just look like free drawing software. There you go. Clip Studio Paint, GIMP, Krita, Artweaver, Free, Sketchpad, Astropad, Studio, Inkscape, Adobe Illustrator. I'm not sure why Adobe Illustrator is on there. Illustrator Draw. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of good choices there. I think it's $20 a month. Yeah, something like that. Does Adobe have a pay once to get updates version instead of subscription? I'm not sure they do anymore, actually. Yeah. Clip Studio is free, not on PC. I think no, I don't think so either. Okay, so Clip Studio Paint apparently is a fraudulent website. Let me just look this up here. Free trial. Okay. I'm not sure why they listed it under free. Maybe it used to be free and now it's not anymore. Free trial up to 6 months. Okay, I guess they included free trials. And I mean, the thing is, like, you can still try it out for free and try to learn it, and then like for 49 bucks 99, that's actually a really decent price for an art program. I think you can also buy them on Steam if I'm not mistaken. uh, Open Canvas is on Steam. I thought it was. Okay, apparently not, but art programs Steam, let me just look it up here. Design illustration. YOLO mouse, what the fuck? Okay, that's just games at this point. Just set it to English. Top sellers, top rated. House Flipper. Hey, look, House Flipper. Visuals and viewpoint. No. Okay. Point being, like, you can probably buy. Oh, Krita is on there, but that's. Oh, you can buy Krita as well. Point being, you can buy it on Steam and then return it if you don't like it, I guess. Alias Sketchbook is your go-to. Okay, I don't know that one. For everyone who loves to draw. Okay. I think I heard of that one, if I'm not mistaken. Huh. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of options for digital artists nowadays. What inspires you not just to make art, but to be a better artist? Oof, that is a very difficult question. I guess what inspires me is, other furry artists, and what inspires me to get better is just the same. Because sometimes you'll see something by an artist that you've never encountered before. That's a Fortnite character. Okay. uh Somebody using a technique that you've never seen before, and that you just feel extremely inspired by. By the way, this is not E621, this is E926, so no porn here. Even though it can get very holy shit, what the fuck is that? Turn anything into furry. Ooh.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, like you see something like that and you go like, okay, I'm gonna turn everything into furry now. Oh, good night, Churro. Take care. Uh, and also good night, the Wolfer. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. Uh, this one, yeah, this is Hacks and can't get yeah, like they've done some incredible art together, and Blotch, of course, has done some incredible art together. Uh, you know, so you see something and you're like, I want to try this, and you know, like one thing that inspired me was the game Bloodborne, and so I tried something completely different with this picture, which is a complete departure from my usual style, and like that was really a challenge of like, can I make that work? Can I actually pull this off? And surprisingly, I was able to, and it ended up selling at the Eurofurence art show. Was it 2018? Yeah, there we go. For 400 euros, and that just blew me away. That was the highest amount anyone had ever paid for an artwork like that. Uh, well, you can hit me up on FA. You can hit me up on Twitch, Douglas Kims, or I guess Twitter works. Although my DMs are not open, but if you contact me, I can send you a DM there. Uh, yeah. So okay, oof, that was just this one now. Okay, let me just go through the tabs and see if I missed anything. I talked about Death Studio. Oh yeah, this is also very useful if you want to use Death Studio to do the gray materials. But there's also Renderosity, which is also a website for Death Studio and Poser. We looked at Wacom. We looked at that. We looked at Drawbox. All right. Then I guess now we get to the part that a lot of you probably have been waiting for and itching to do. We're gonna draw something really simple. Well, I wouldn't say really simple because it's probably gonna be a bit more involved. But we're gonna try and draw. Well, just the tiger head, I guess, is fine. Um, and if you guys want to join in, I'm going to narrate what I'm doing. I hope this goes over well. I haven't planned this. I haven't tried this before. Um, and yeah, take care, also. Oh no, no, sorry, Douglas Kims. Take care. Thanks so much for joining, and thanks so much for the insightful comments. That was really helpful. Um, and yeah, so we're gonna draw something, and you can draw along with me. So, I would give you a few minutes to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, or any kind of other pen, or open your art program and your tablet, and then we're gonna draw something together. And don't worry about it if it doesn't look the same as me, or if it looks weird or something. The important part is that you try it, and you can see like how I'm doing things. See what is a good size. I think that's a bit too large. And then you can sort of, for those of you who just want to watch, you can see live how I draw something, and I'll probably fail miserably at it, so you can laugh at my misfortune. Uh, I wanted to be on the notebook to try to keep up. Yeah, take your time. I'm gonna be setting everything up for a moment. Or a on. Azure, are you ready?
Oh, do you want me to draw as well?
I I thought I thought you wanted to. If you don't, that's fine.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Um, I actually wanted to do this, like for a while now. I always held off to do it on a Friday, so as you could join in if you wanted.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's fine. Okay, I guess that's a good setting.
All right, it could be modeling.
No, I think that's a bit much. He's tired. I wouldn't want him to be standing around for like an hour or something.
Whee!
That's an interesting reaction. Okay, I hope everybody is ready. Class, let's assemble. Sit down. Do it on paper. Don't do it on a book. Like, yeah, sure. That's a good idea. Because you can always look at the stream later on. It's going to be up for 2 weeks, I think is the standard, and I might actually, yeah, as I said before, I might actually put this up on YouTube or something. We will see. Okay, so first of all, we start out with a very basic circle, and it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. We just start out, something that looks a little roundish, and just something that serves the purpose of giving us a reference of how big the head is supposed to be. And there are actually a lot of techniques that deal with this as a very basic shape, and moving on from that. And I'm going to ignore pretty much all of it because I never quite understood how these things are supposed to work. So all I did was I would do iterations of it over and over and over again. Sometimes I drew the muzzle too long and too small or too big. And just all these years I improved on it until eventually I reached a point where I was, confident that this is the way I wanted it to look. So
This is the way.
this is the way. Exactly. So the thing with drawing in general is drawing is um, the way of making something that is 2D, on paper, um, look three-dimensional. That's the whole technique of drawing in a nutshell. So now we have a two-dimensional circle, right? So now we're going to make it three-dimensional. We're going to turn it into a ball. And how we do that is we give it two lines. So the one line, this one here, is going to be the one that defines where the character is looking, so to speak. Oh god, I'm so nervous. And then we add another one that does the same. And now we have a ball, a three-dimensional ball that also defines where our character is going to look and where the character is going to be defined at. So that's like how a lot of artists start out. And I've seen anime artists or other artists like draw additional lines, and you can do that with like, okay, this is the size of the eyes, this is where the mouth goes, etc., etc. As I said, I'm not going to do that because that's not how I learned. Oh my god, circle! What an innovation! um, so now I'm going to do a thing that is on digital only, but I think you can emulate it if you erase a little bit on actual paper. Um, you know, it's fine if you only used a light pencil, if you didn't put too much pressure on it. Um, but I'm gonna lower the opacity here a little bit because this is just my little helper placeholder for the head that I'm gonna draw over. So if you want to erase the little, just so the lines aren't as thick, that's fine too. Other than that, you can just leave it as it is and draw over it. I can spend way too much time on this ball alone. Yeah, exactly. That's why I said complacency is your biggest friend. Don't care about the fucking ball. Just leave it as a crummy little ugly ball. It's okay. Nobody's gonna see that anyway. Who cares, right? But that's just something you need to internalize eventually, because when you start out, you think that every line is wrong. Every single line looks horrible. You will never become a real artist. It all looks like shit. And you just have to get over that and just go like, no, I can make this work even if it looks like shit. I will stick with it. So now I start out with the muzzle, and the muzzle starts out, for me anyway, with like a little fold that is sort of going here. There we go. So it's like like these two lines right here. There we go. I'm not trying to erase too much, but sometimes you need to. And then also add some more lines right here, to give it a bit more depth. And from that, we move out a little bit. And so what I like to do, even though in reality this is not the case, but it's something I learned from the artist Kihu that I sort of adapted, is adding a little bend to the muzzle. So like it goes a little downward here, right? There we go. Usually a tiger muzzle is much more smoothly flowing, as you can see very much in the 3D model here. But because this is just something I've adapted from myself, I do it like that. It needs to be a ball, not a potato. It can be a potato. You want to be drawing potatoes, you have to draw. You don't have to draw a potato. Oh, thanks. Need to hydrate again. 3 times. Holy shit! Thank you. I'm gonna have to do another challenge if people keep telling me to drink so much. No, fuck you. Okay. You just spent 300 points on telling me to fuck you, to fuck off.
Not bad.
I want you to drink till you have to piss and then not get up. Okay. Okay. Moving on. So now we'll have to draw the nose. So what can you? Okay, we have to get back. So the nose is a bit tricky, but there are a lot of ways to draw the nose. So I'll just draw something a little bit more simple that is a bit more akin to in Disney's Lion King, the original animated one. So we're just gonna draw like this line right here, and then sort of like make a little stretched out M, like a McDonald's M. Um, tiger sized balls. It's I like Kodo. And then we're gonna move this and do a line like that. So we connect that, and that's how we start out with a very basic nose shape, right? And so now we're gonna split it in the middle with one line, and then add 2 nose holes right here. There we go. And so now we have a nose going on. It's not the most perfect nose, and it's okay if it isn't, but it's a very basic nose shape. As I said before, like if you look at a more realistic nose, of course it goes on further down. And I actually, used to draw noses more like this nowadays, but just for the sake of practice, I'm going to do it this way. Okay. So now we'll continue on with the muzzle, which is starting out like right behind the nose here. And then move this over here. And then Tigers was very calming for Bob Ross for German. And now we're gonna draw some happy little tigers. And we're gonna continue on this line straight downward to split the muzzle. There we go. And no, I'm not gonna talk this entire time.
That was fun.
And now we're gonna connect like this line to form the shape of the mouth, which is like this, just a little stretched out line. I shouldn't erase so much. There we go. Now, you could keep it like that because, a lot of like big cat muzzles look like that. But of course, we want to anthropomorphize this tiger. It sounds like a dick with the balls, but with balls in the middle. Yeah, there's actually just a little tangent. I'm trying not to get too distracted. Learning to draw tigers by drawing dicks, and I hope that works. But yeah, I hope that's not not too much for Twitch. But yeah, this is an actual tutorial that tells you how to draw a tiger from a penis. And it actually looks quite good, I have to say. So yeah, the basic shape is actually not that far off. If you wanna do that. Okay. Yeah, speaking of, we can also add this line here to connect the muzzle again. And now we want to give him a big smile, make him look all happy. So we move this line over here. Maybe can also connect that over here if we want. Move this line over here, put it up here, and then we're gonna add the mouth fold. There we go, just like a little triangle. It's not perfect, but it's fine. You'll see the magic of digital art later on. I'm ashamed to say I used that tutorial before. Don't be ashamed of that. It's, honestly, if it gets you to drawing tigers, then that tutorial has accomplished more than I have this entire evening. Okay, so now we got the muzzle so far done. So now I move on and do the eyes. And the eyes are going to be the most important part about the character, because you can be the best artist in the world. If the eyes look weird, people are just going to be thrown off by them. So how I position the eyes is I use a line that follows the placeholder line, and then I give it a little bend like that, so it forms like a C to sort of like move down and sort of like separate the rest of the head from the muzzles. Don't be ashamed, tigers come all sizes. In school, they call me gay to draw a dick. Yo, I'm gay. I can't draw tigers now. So, yeah, pretty much. And we can also draw that line over here. So this is the basic fold for the eyes, right? And now we draw the lower line of the eye, like parallel to that, and also give it, like a upside down, not an upside down C, but a C that's fallen over. And then we also have to add a little triangle here and then move that up as well, so to kind of define the eye shape. I hope this is going to look like something decent eventually. Usually I'm not explaining the whole time while I'm working, right? So this is the lower end of the one eye, so we want to do that on the other side as well. But because of the perspective, we first need to add a line that goes branches up from the muzzle, it goes upward like that, and then we can sort of add the bend of the eye there, because it's hidden a little bit beneath behind the shape of the head there. Yeah, like if you want to draw something from the frontal perspective, that can be very difficult if you want to keep it symmetrical. So now we're gonna have to add the eyelid here, the upper eyelid. So we're gonna use shape like this. I'll draw it a little bit over here, and then do the same over here. And now he has this lustful smile already, even though we don't have any pupils yet. And now we're gonna add the pupils. And basic rule of thumb for the pupils is that part of the pupil should always be obscured by either the upper or the lower eyelid. So if you, for instance, if you draw an eye like that, it's like fully visible in the middle, it looks very shocked and very unnatural. So in extreme situations that can be helpful, but we don't want that. So instead of drawing an eye like a pupil like a circle, we're just going to draw it like half a circle. So like that, right? There we go. Well, oh no, I'm not going to undo that. I'm trying not to use the undo button to kind of mimic if you are drawing on actual paper. There we go. Sure as heck is my fear among many when trying to draw. Yeah, learning to draw can be scary. And now this is something that I learned from artists like Zosh that I could kind of like apply to my own work. Is to draw this eye dot, which is like the white dot in the eye to sort of simulate reflection, which gives the eye a little bit more natural look. So we're going to draw a quarter of an eye instead of a quarter of a circle, sorry, instead of half a circle, like this and like this. And then we're going to add the pupil, which is like hidden slightly underneath. And there we go. Now he's looking at us. And I actually have to do all the eyelid a little bit thicker. It's not perfect, but it looks all right. The muzzle is actually too big now that I realized it. But it's fine. It's fine. You know, if I draw a little bit wonky tonight, I guess that's even more a testament to how imperfect every artist is to a certain degree. And yeah, I guess it looks all right. You know, you can sort of see where I'm going with this. All right, now moving on to the eyebrows. If you want to draw eyebrows, if you don't want to draw eyebrows, that's fine. I personally like drawing eyebrows because I think they add a lot to the facial expression. So we're gonna make him look, I guess, a little happy. So not like super sexual, I hope. But you know, I'm a porn artist, and some habits die hard. So yeah, I'm gonna try and add like thick eyebrows over here. It's not much else than a stretched out rectangle that sort of follows the shape of the eye over here, and then maybe add some holes here to simulate, you know, the brow. I didn't want to erase. There we go. Sorry, I'm going against my habits right now. Um, but I guess it's fine. There we go. Right. Seductive face possibly inevitable. Yeah, pretty much. A lot of hard habits in your career. Oh, believe me. And I oftentimes like adding like little lines here to simulate, you know, a bit of fur, just to accentuate the eyes and accentuate, you know, the facial structure a bit. So you can also, you know, add a little bit of fold here to make the eyes look a little bit closed, which, you know, makes them look a little bit more relaxed, I guess. But you don't have to do that, you know, because it's all really up to your own personal preference. All right, now we're gonna go with the cheek fluff, and for that, I'm gonna draw like an inverted or a mirrored C, like it's very stretched out, so to kind of know where the edge of the head is. And I'm doing the same thing here, except I do it, you know, like this, and then follow the shape of the eye as well. There we go. Okay. Now it gets a bit tricky because this is something that really, you know, only ever comes to pass fully when you learn what looks good and what doesn't look good, and you've gotten some experience. You've gained some experience. Because the way I do it is I add these very rough and very broad brush strokes here to simulate, you know, just uh, the way the fur is sort of defined. The muzzle is way too big. That's fine. It's fine. It's all right. It's all right. And then I just start adding this spiky cheek fur by sort of following and mimicking the same form here. And I don't even care about how precise it is. It's just supposed to be fluffy. Right, there we go. And now we're going to start with the lower jaw. So I start out, you know, somewhere like to give him a little bit of an overbite here. And again, you draw like a C shape to sort of simulate the lower lip. And then once again, I start adding the spiky chin fluff and just sort of follow, the line back to the cheek fur. There we go. Of course, I gave him quite a lower jaw. As you can see, this lower jaw is not as accentuated as this one, but it's personal preference. Again, it's always up to your own idea and your own personal aesthetic, I guess. You created Teddy, congratulations. Well, we're not quite finished yet. Ball tiger, yeah, well, he doesn't have ears, so he can't. He's also deaf. Proof of the smug.
Oh no.
So okay, for the ears, there are a bunch of different ear techniques that you can use. You can try to mimic this style. I'm gonna do a little bit something different here. So again, we follow the lines that we've created before, and we sort of add an S shape here over here with a little bit of a longer lower line. There we go. And then we sort of do a shape like this, which is an elongated C again, and a reverse C, so to speak. And then we have our ear shape, and we can also add some fluff here as well if we want. There we go. I just realized I made a mistake, but it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Just realized that the brow is way too big, and that's something I used to do back in the day quite a lot. So I guess we'll just change that real quick. Nobody saw it. There we go. I need a tutorial just for fluff. Yeah, sadly, I mean there are tutorials for that as well, but I don't know how to explain that very well, to be honest. But yeah, now I start adding the fluff on top of the head, and I try to do it in a way where it's like I start out from the one ear and then give it a little bend, and then start off again from there and move on over to the other side. So it sort of connects here. So you can see like there's this missing part here. And then I just go on and add the other ear shape. There we go. And also again, the S shape and some basic fluff. There we go. So it's not perfect, but I think it gets the job done. Oops, sorry. There we go. Yeah, so we've done a very basic tiger. Um,
Looks so cute.
Thank you. What I do when it comes to drawing mistakes, and why I'm thankful to have digital programs that I can use for drawing is I flip the canvas, and that is a technique that a lot of artists use just to see the picture from a different point of view, and you can spot mistakes much easier. Um, and in addition to that, there's also a great tool in Photoshop that's called the warp tool. So we can just take this and sort of like drag stuff around, and position it a little bit more the way I want, and also I can select a few things here and there that I want to change, and then like go in and do this, make them a little bit smaller, pull it a little bit downward. So this is just additional stuff that I do just as an insight. You don't have to do that when you're drawing traditionally, of course. Then it's all about learning what works and what doesn't work. It was just like draw over there. There we go. And there, then I just switch it back. It's hard to do on paper. Yeah, that's true. You are like those tutorial videos on YouTube where they do some sketch lines and when it comes to the part of the details, they do an epic drawing with no explanation. I'm sorry. I tried my best, really. I've never done this before, so I'm not sure how much help I am actually. But I hope I gave you some basic idea of it. Um, but yeah, so just very basically, this is the way I draw, and that's how I learned it all over over all of these years. And it's not set in stone. It's not the way you should go about drawing. It's all about finding your own inspiration, your own style. And what I would always advise you is to look at your favorite artists, always multiple ones, and then like open them up right, next to your drawing, or like your drawing space. So I don't know, like let's just type in bear because there's a bunch of bears here. Um, and pull up different styles, different drawing techniques that you like, and then sort of take what you like best from these styles, and like have them up. Oh god, that looks a bit creepy. Have them up, next to your drawing pad, and use that as inspiration. Oh, he looks cute. Because then once you are able to take, like the eyes from this one, the eyebrows from this one, the beard from this one, it all becomes something new and this amalgamation of different influences, so you don't risk just stealing one person's art style. People already. You've stumbled upon a furry art stream. What did you expect? Oh, this is also cute. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Oh, this is from. No, it's not from Null Ghost. I thought it was, but yeah, that also looks good. This is pretty much all I've got for this stream. Um, it's okay, my friend. So many first-time chatters. Hello, hello, hello. Um, if you got any more questions, feel free to ask them. Other than that, I think I am done for the evening with explaining how to furry art. Can I post my drawing on FA? Absolutely. If you actually drawn along with me and managed to put something together, feel free to share it. Feel free to put it on Twitter, on FA, wherever you like. I would love to see it actually. Just as a kind of proof of concept if I was a good instructor with this whole thing or not. And the page of the 3D reference. Can you pass the link? Of course. You can pass the link for that. Can probably not NFT. Oh god, yeah, they are doing NFTs nowadays. I don't know why. Yeah. So, as I said, the basic desk program is free. The models are not, but they just like Steam. They have like tons of sales, all the time, and they even have some free stuff. Although most of it is lower quality, sadly. And they also have a subscription you can pay for. I wouldn't pay for anything that you don't want. Start out like oh, if you want to learn how to draw a dinosaur, here you have a full dinosaur bundle for $39. Nice. But yeah, just maybe feel around a little, see what is useful for you and what you can sort of get some use out of. And if it's not for you, that's fine. But I would just look at it first. So yeah, actually, I should hydrate. I love that. Also, my son is a black wolf with wings. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Do you think horses are harder to draw? I actually find horses much easier to draw because like their basic head shape always is much more similar and um much harder to get wrong, I guess. Oh my god, why is it Sonic Sonic the Hedgehog? God, people come up with the weirdest ideas. Um,
Uh,
let me just see if I can find a good example. because like horse head shapes already look a little different than the general aesthetic of a lot of other animals. So if you compare a bear, a wolf, a lion, their muzzles sort of look similar, but horse muzzles look much different from that. Apple Faces is a really good artist if you want to get into drawing horses. I think he does insanely good horses, and it's also very stylized. As you can see, like you have the nose, and the mouth is relatively small. And then you have this line that just connects the jaw, and then you have the nose bridge here that connect the eyes, and then you're basically done. The ears on top of the head, which is also much easier than trying to position them sort of at the side. Um, so yeah, that's definitely for me easier to do than other species. That works well for base mesh and then take it into ZBrush. Yeah, it works too. I love the pale pink nose. Yeah, that looks cute. Let me see if I can find another good horse artist. I don't want to open any of the weirder pictures, even though at the same time I'm very intrigued. I guess that's furry art for you. You'll never know what you stumble upon, and it could be the most beautiful artwork you've ever seen, or it could be nightmare fuel from beyond what you ever thought possible. Well, that's also really cute brush fire. Wait, is that a donkey? No, it's not. It's a horse. Okay,
Oh, it looks a bit like a donkey.
it looks a bit like a donkey. Brush fire. Never heard of that artist. Also really interesting. But yeah, like head shapes are for me at least for horses are easier to draw than for other species. All right, any more questions? Because other than that, I think that's it for tonight. It's a bit of a shorter stream, but I think we've actually made a lot of progress. Uh, could possibly, if you guys want to see, how to draw stripes, I could put some stripes on them as well. Thank you, Daniel. I'm glad you liked it. So, tiger stripes are also a bit of a challenge. Oh, yeah, something I wanted to mention as well, because I've seen this like for beginner artists, and I've seen like seasoned artists give horrible advice. Oh yeah, no, I wanted to talk about a few things more. Just just a few a few things that I've always wanted to mention in like a public forum, but without anyone being able to criticize me for it. Um, except for Azure, I guess. Thing is, I've seen artists tell beginner artists that if you want to learn how to draw an animal, you should look at the actual photos of an animal. So if you want to draw a horse, just type in horse on Google, and then look at picture, and yeah, look at this wonderful intelligent looking horse, and then learn how to draw that. And I always say that's not a good idea to tell a beginner artist, because taking something from real life, real life that doesn't really have any regard for the skill or the experience of an artist, and it looks 100% realistic. And if you want to draw it in like a comic style, then you're going to have a hard time adapting that. So instead, I would just always advise use furry art, or use artistic renditions of what you want to draw instead of the actual real thing. And then, as I said, use different styles, use different artists as reference, and that's much easier to learn and understand, even if it's something more realistic. Um, but you already kind of understand, where the lines go, and how long the face is and so on, rather than looking at any kind of picture or any kind of photograph of a real horse. What the fuck? And you're trying to adapt it from something that is realistic. It's like when writers say show don't tell, when in reality you need to show and tell, otherwise you end up with people describing stuff ad nauseum and the story is no longer succinct. Yeah, that's also uh, not a not a bad mindset. Um, and another thing that I really, really wanted to put out there is, especially for beginner artists, be just a tiny bit arrogant about your work. And what I mean with that is you always have the right to say no, and you should say no when you feel uncomfortable with something. Just like in real life, but with art, especially when you're starting out, there's something that can really break your spirits, and it happened to me as well. Is you put something online and you're very, very proud of yourself for having drawn that, and so you put it in a gallery or on Twitter or whatever, and you get a comment that compliments your work, and you're happy about it, and you're really thankful to that person that they took the time to say something nice about your artwork. And then what happens is you get in contact with that person and they go, "Oh yeah, you've done some great work and it's really cool." And they're being extremely nice about it, and there's no red flag whatsoever. And then they drop the bombshell by going, "Have you ever considered drawing Five Nights at Freddy characters? Five Nights at Freddy's, sorry. Five Nights at Freddy's characters. Or, insert anything else here." And it's something completely out of the blue, completely out of left field. It has nothing to do with anything you've ever drawn. Oh, this is also a nice picture here from
Oh, yeah,
2015.
that's always a good one.
Yeah. And so you're completely taken off guard by that. And you're like, "No, I've never tried doing that." "Well, would you like to?" "I don't know. I never heard of these characters, and I don't know really." "Well, you should give it a try. It would really mean a lot to me. Nobody else is willing to try that, and I've asked a bunch of artists. So why don't you give it a shot?" And then like it dawns on you that all this person did and all the nice things they said was just to get some free fucking art from a beginner artist because they don't want to pay for anything. And that has really, really hurt me in the past because you start to feel like you cannot trust anyone anymore, especially when they're being nice to you. And that's really, really something you have to sort of prepare yourself to, and you always need to be able to shut down if that happens to you, because there are a lot of nice people in the furry fandom, and there are a lot of people willing to say something nice about your art eventually. And even if there are only one or two comments under your pictures, or even if just a friend says they like your work and nobody comments on your picture, anyone who is genuine with what they're saying is worth a lot more than somebody who's complimenting you just so they get free out of it. And you should not be stooping to that level where you do anything anybody asks of you just because they are being nice to you. You know, just keep that in mind. Draw for yourself and draw for others that you deem worth it, but don't whore yourself out because people are telling you you should do requests or you should allow people to suggest ideas, and they were just being nice, they were just suggesting something, they didn't tell you to draw. Like, they will make up any kind of excuse to get free art, and some people will like have no regards or no sort of decency whatever whatsoever um, for anybody else, and they just want to get free art. And that is just something that I find despicable because it hurts a lot of artists and it hurts a lot of people. you should not fall for any of that. So yeah, that is just something that I want everybody to keep in mind, that it's okay to draw something, for others, but they should at least be decent enough to be upfront with it, and they should at least regard you as something more than just a free drawing machine, basically. Uh, Honestly, I feel always so awkward putting forth suggestions to anyone because of things like that. Um, the thing is, if you want to put forward suggestions, that's absolutely fine. But I think you should try to gauge if the artist has done something in the past that is similar to that. Because if it's like, okay, they draw transformers, and then you really like that one transformer that is a little bit more obscure, and you're like, hey, I see you drawing transformers, how about you try drawing that one? He's from that comic that I really liked as a child. And so you give it a bit more context and you make it more personal, so you're being upfront and you're being honest with it. And so it's not like through the back door or anything. I think that's fine. It's always about being appropriate to the situation, I think. um can you leave it back in the drawing for me? Oh, right, of course. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I stopped working on the stripes halfway through. I apologize. Yeah, I just get riled up when it comes to people like scheming other people out of to or like not scheming, but uh scamming other people out of free art, so to speak. Choosing beggars, as we like to call them. There we go. I'm sorry, I don't mind. Anyone who says do it for exposure should be punched hard. Absolutely. Never do anything for exposure, because exposure isn't worth anything. The only thing you do for exposure is your own artwork, and you upload it, and that's the exposure you deserve. But nothing else is worth putting yourself through any kind of misery, or uh, you know dealing with any sort of bullshit because you're being promised exposure. Okay. So yeah, that was it that I really wanted to point out. When it comes to doing requests, something that kind of goes along with what I said earlier is I would not um, try to do requests that seem too challenging. As I said, always say no if you don't feel comfortable. And instead of doing requests from for like random people, at least not in the very beginning, I think I would always suggest doing requests for friends. Um, because on one hand, you're doing something nice for people that care about you, and on the other hand, you also uh, don't risk getting criticism that is going to hurt you, or that is that's you're going to sort of like push back against and go like, oh, they're just jealous. Because if a friend criticizes your artwork, um, oftentimes they want to see you improve. And even if they word it badly, you can always tell them that they were not very nice in that regard, and they will learn from that, because critiquing art is also very, very difficult. But I think if you draw for friends, you are much more likely to come out of it with a positive experience than just drawing for random people. Something that would be fun to do on a Discord server, make a section of drawings, and from time to time you watch it live and you would say what could be improved. Ooh. I don't like critiquing other people's artwork. I'm so sorry. Uh, Tried doing that in the past and it never worked out well. So it's definitely a nice idea. I mean, we definitely wanted to get a Discord server going at some point, and we should do that. Um, but yeah, I think other people are better suited for doing art lessons. Also says, I've had people tell me to write fanfic of stuff I didn't like, but I don't even write fanfic. So yeah, be careful if you write as well. Yeah, exactly. That's fanfics is also really weird, because especially for writing, I think it's much worse when people like scheme their way into getting something from for free. 'Cause writing just takes so much more time, if you're writing like a story that's like 5, 6 pages long, um, and then somebody's like, "Okay, thanks," and it's like he's gone forever. Oh, hey, Tyros, I think you're Tyros on two hands. Thank you so much. The horses too. Oh, you guys are being too kind. You see, do I even have a horse picture that I can show on stream that's not safe for work? Let me see. Well, I drew something. Do a picture of Officer Monroe. There we go. Is that the only clean picture I drew of him? I mean, he's too much of a kink sink at this point, so I guess it makes sense. Yeah, but I guess that works. I can still keep the no, not that one. I can still keep that tab open and then keep these. Wait, there we go. Oh god, what happened? Elsong, another gift sub. Thank you. What's your opinion if when you come across people or places that use your art characters for RP profiles? Cringe? It depends. I think all your pictures are pretty clean things, Tyrus. Um, I don't mind it if they use it on websites like Flist, where it's self-contained and they only use it for role playing, so nobody confuses a role playing profile on Flist for it being me. On Twitter, it really annoys me and bothers me because a lot of the time these people will have no respect for the artist and just grab any sort of picture, slap it on there for 2 weeks, and be like, I'm this character now, I'm super horny awesome stud, and then like they're not going to do anything with it. They're just going to steal the artwork, keep it up for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later they're changing the character, steal somebody else's artwork and be like another character. And it's lacking respect and it's really bothering me, but there's not a lot I can do against it, and that sucks. I just try to go after the people that, sort of feel like they're impersonating me. Because I think that's just over the line. Is it okay if I'm drawing for a friend for free, and if a random person wants me to draw him for free, should I refuse? Um, well, if you want to draw something for a friend to do something nice and you do it for free, that's fine. Um, if a random person asks you to draw something here for free, you should first ask them what they want. And if it seems like it's a lot of work and something like you wouldn't enjoy doing, then I should say either the person pays you or you refuse. So yeah, don't sell yourself out just because the person asks nicely. Thank you, Glaertos. I'm glad you like Officer Monroe. I like him too. But it's really up to your own personal feeling, I guess, if you draw something for free for others, because sometimes people are really genuinely being nice and don't just want to get free art, but other times, especially when you're starting out, there are so many people preying upon beginner artists, so they can get their weird fetish drawn for free. Not that there's anything wrong with weird fetishes. I have quite a few weird fetishes myself, but I'm saying, like, if you want to get your fetish drawn, at least have the decency of paying for it, even if it's just like $5 or something. Thank you so much, Iracon. Okay. Any tips for making the tiger stripes while using a mechanical pencil? Do I shade them in? Uh, that's out of my area of expertise personally. Um, can't say anything about that. Just draw whatever feels natural, I guess. I'm sorry, don't really I don't really know a lot about or enough about traditional art to answer that question. All right. I guess, yeah, as I said before, I've been lucky to get a few free picks, but I never go looking for them. I would rather pay for the time taken. There's nothing wrong with taking free pictures if the artist is offering requests. Um, I think there's a whole sort of decency to it, to like what you're asking. I think you should always align your own expectations to what the artist is offering. And so for instance, if they're just starting out, you shouldn't ask them to draw your character in doing a battle pose in full combat gear with background and coloring and all that jazz. Instead, just like try to stick to what they've already done, and link like one of their pictures and go like, I would like something similar to this, just as a basic example. How do you approach lighting? I know some people gray shade and multiply against flat color. Um, okay, so shading is interesting because I guess we can sort of use this as an example. Um, Shading is a really big topic to cover, and I'm not sure if we could do that in an entire stream of 4 hours. Uh, go. So I'm just gonna show very basically how I do shading. Uh, so first I define an area that is going to be shaded. And I already have my preset shading layer macros here. So the basic shading I do is with a sort of like dark violet, like washed out violet color. You can also go with a bluish hue, something like that. And then I multiply it over the color layer. In this case, it's white. And that's the basic shading layer. And then I use a eraser with like a little less opacity, like something like 60 or 70. No, I'm okay. I'm still awake enough. I hope Azure is too. Otherwise, I'll tuck him in a moment.
Yeah, you have to tuck me in soon.
Good night, Daniel. I'll take care. And so I start out, just sometimes I define where the light comes from, but basically I just start out shading with what I think is logical. So if the light's coming from the top, sort of like this, and so I erase all the parts that have light on them, so only the shadows remain. And then over time it sort of develops into this thing where it kind of looks realistic-ish, I guess. This all a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error. So and then I use a brush to add some of the shadows back, so pick some of the mistakes that I made over the course of the process. And that back and forth sort of goes on and on until I have something that looks good. So there we go. And some more smoothing here and there. I also do like to do some rim lights where I just go to the edge of a area and then erase the very edge of it, the very rim of it. There we go. And so yeah, that's very basically how I do shading. And now if we add a color layer underneath, let's give them an orange here, there we go. And then you can see it looks already more interesting. And then I'll just add the stripes real quick. Add some real colored stripes instead of the black and white ones. So this is also like a very brief look into coloring and shading. It's all about using the brush, the drawing brush and the eraser brush, because that's basically what it is. Light and shadow is all basically just black and white in different shades and different hues. And so you always just got to keep in mind, what part is dark, what part is bright, and what part is in between. And you can also use, I can show this real quick. You can also use that studio for that, because they actually come with a cool rendering engine called NVIDIA Iray. I hope this is not going to tank my PC now. Yeah, but there you go. So and you can even adjust the lighting here. Let me just see the render settings. Environment. This is very basic. I could also show how to use that studio sometime. That might be a good idea. So you can sort of see this, you can also um, use different styles. So you can do cartoon shaded, and then you have like a uh, better idea of how it would look. But yeah, that's also a really cool thing that you're able to do in the program. Okay, so there we go. And now we're gonna color in the eyebrows. I'm just gonna do this really roughly. Could probably zoom in a little bit. So, excuse me if I'm not doing this very precisely here, but this is actually bonus time because I was running out of things to say and things to show. Well, I guess this is a nice way to sort of finish this little picture off here. How am I doing? I'm doing fine. My throat's a little dry because I've been talking this entire time, but otherwise I'm doing good. And yeah, I already drank something else, so I know I kind of dared somebody to send me the yeah. Thank you, Nalius. Right on cue. Okay, I'm gonna drink something. It's always surprising to see how many people watch the streams that I would not expect to take off like they did. Over 50 viewers after all this time. Holy shit. Thank you guys so much for taking an interest in what I have to say, even though I feel like I've not even scratched the surface of this whole area. Okay, so just gonna add the lighter fur color here. Chic fluff. There we go. So this is the basic shading. And what I go on to do then, because it does look a little flat, is I add another shading layer above the other one. And I give it a lower opacity, so it's something like 40, let's take 30. And so I go into the darker areas that I've shaded before, and sort of like go in and give them some more depth. So it's more like ambient occlusion is the technique called in games, where there are additional shadows being projected um, from objects that give off shadows. So instead of having only one level of lighting, so to speak, you have multiple levels of lighting on top of each other. And so I usually do this like 2 to 3 times, depending on how complex the lighting is. And I also play around with the opacity a little bit till it looks like something that I'm happy with. So especially like it's like over the eyes, there we go, with the ears, so it can get some darker and brighter areas. And then I also add the highlights, which is the fill method is color dodge, and that's something that you just have to find out for yourself, like how much you in how much strength you want to give the highlights. Actually, you can add the stripes here a little bit darker. There we go, because it kind of bothers me. Right. Like how much strength you want to give the highlights, because and depending on your own personal taste, you might think this already looks fine, and I think it looks fine. But you can also add something a little bit more. You see, now this happens where I see all the mistakes that I made. There we go. So adding the highlights is a white color, but with the color dodge, it helps bringing out the colors underneath and making them brighter and giving this nice little glow effect that I personally really like. You've probably seen a lot of my pictures so far. There we go. And then I touch up the whole thing with more rim lights, like I said before, where I erase them from the shading, and this is just a 20% linear dodge add layer with a light blue hint to it, and light blue hue, I'm sorry. And so it kind of brightens the edges a bit and makes them pop a little bit more. And that's almost it, I guess, except for the eyes. As I said, the eyes are the most important part. So the eyes, coloring those is actually quite simple. If you take the basic color and then add like a brighter version of it in the middle. There we go, like this. And the very edges, you add a little bit darker color, so to give them light and shadow. And then you zoom out, and it looks great. Okay, I think it's over. Improve something, try to send you when I finish the details. Yeah, I'm excited to see it, little Mike. Also, thanks, Fan Entertainment, for telling me to hydrate. I just did that. Okay, so I think now I am absolutely done. This was a really interesting experience, and I hope you guys liked it. If there's interest in me doing another one of these, I'm happy to do so. Uh, if people have any more additional questions, feel free to ask me. You know where to find me on Twitter, on FA, etc. Other than that, I think this has been uh, everything that I can tell you right now. And yeah, I hope you guys liked it. Uh, Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who joined, asked questions, or just sat quietly and watched. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys got some inspiration from it. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, whatever time it is for you. And because I'm slowly improving and getting better with the way Twitch works, I'm actually gonna send you over to Tyrox in a moment because he's playing Star Citizen, and I think he would like it if you guys checked his channel out.
Yay, raid!
Yeah, so we're gonna raid Tyrox in a moment. Wait, which one is the raid button? Why don't they not have? Why don't they have any titles on them? Oh my god! Oh, there we go. Raid channel. Pick a channel to raid. Start raid. Okay, have a good one, guys. Stay safe, and till next time. Take care. Bye.